During a divorce, you're going to go through a process called discovery. That's where you and your spouse have to fully disclose everything you have, such as if you started a business, so the attorneys can determine the value of everything and divide accordingly. Now, what if the economy heads into recession, as many are predicting? Well, according to Donna LaScala, who is president of Comprehensive Divorce Solutions, and she's also a certified divorce financial analyst and a financial neutral, she says you can't just take a quick snapshot. You have to look at the whole picture and do a comparison of current and past values to get a final determination. Donna, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Ilyssa. How are you?
Oh, so happy to have you. Now, this is all a double-edged sword when it comes to a recession, your money and a divorce. Why so?
Well, you have to understand that during a recession, various things may happen as far as values are concerned. So with the stock market, as we've been seeing, values of 401ks, 403bs, cash value accounts, stocks, bonds, savings accounts are going down because of the way the market has been performing. So when you go to then look at equitable distribution, you're dealing with a smaller number. So on the one hand, if you're the owner of the 401k, your mind might say to you, okay, well, now I have less to share. I don't have to give so much to my spouse. But it also means that you have less to keep. In addition to which, there are certain things like the number based on child support or maintenance, which is tied to income, that may also be affected in a recession if your income is going down. So, okay, the amount of maintenance, the number is lower. The amount of child support, the number is lower because it's based on marital home income, joint income. But then again, you also have less income to go around. So now that you're considering separating and setting up two different households, those expenses are double. So that's why it's a double-edged sword, because while you may have to give away less, you're also keeping less in a recessionary economy.
The last recession occurred back in 2008, and all of us are seeing on the news that experts are indicating a recession is on the horizon, and it could happen possibly within the next year. This is not an overnight or next month kind of thing. You say people should use this time to turn their attention to understanding the leading indicators and the lagging indicators. Why is this important to surviving and thriving?
Well, it's very important that any financial decisions we make are not made in an uninformed vacuum, because we are operating in the wider world. We are a global economy. And even though going through a divorce is an extremely personal event, we have to really look beyond what's happening to us right now to determine what's going to be in the future. So the market is a leading indicator. The stock market reacts 6 months ahead of time. The money managers, the institutional money managers, are looking to see what's coming next so that they can modify their portfolios and prepare to react when things start to turn the next way. So the market is a leading indicator. Some other things like the housing market may be a lagging indicator, because as we've seen, the Fed has been raising interest rates. That affects the overnight bank-to-bank lending rate, which is a very different thing that we as consumers may not truly understand. It then can have a ripple effect on interest rates across the board, which is why then mortgage rates can be affected. So people that are looking to buy homes right now may not necessarily be willing to buy the $1 million home now that interest rates are at 6.5% for mortgages. So that's a lagging indicator. That kind of happens in the next wave of things, and it starts to turn very gradually. So it's not an overnight thing. It's a process. It's an evolving process.
You know, you just led into my next question, the real estate market. And I keep reading all these reports that the housing market, which, I mean, you couldn't keep houses on the market for more than a second with COVID, is going to start changing. Now, for people who need to sell the marital residence because they're going through a divorce, did they miss the seller's market window?
It's definitely a concern that we have when going through the process with our clients that are anticipating divorce and having to sell the marital residence. But because it's not just a financial decision, it's an emotional decision, you have to look at a lot of different factors. Yes, the housing market is going to start to turn from a hugely hot seller's market to maybe more of a buyer's market because the prices of houses are going to start to have to adjust downward because interest rates are going up. There is an inverse relationship to interest rates and housing prices. There's also going to be more of an inventory situation because people may say, you know what, I'll hold on to what I have because I don't want to spend the money to buy that next home that needs renovations. So there's that concern as well. But when you're dealing with a marital residence, it's not only about the numbers, it's also about the family's situation. Are there children that still need to stay in the community? Is the house going to be sold from one spouse to the other and refinanced? And that's also where the interest rates come into play, because when you're refinancing, you're doing it at current interest rate mortgage prices. So there's a lot of concern with a turn in the housing market and the interest rate, mortgage rate, not just from a standpoint of sellers versus buyers. Because if you are doing a spouse-to-spouse exchange, one person is a seller and one person is a buyer. So the window is starting to close, but it's not there yet.
You know, again, we keep talking about the word recession. What if a person who is going through a divorce and started a business or company has to have that evaluated during a divorce? How is it determined what the actual value is? Because, you know, they may take a loss in clients and in monies coming in.
Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why any good forensic accountant and any CDFA would recommend that it not just be a snapshot in time. Because a business during a recession is not a business during inflationary times or good economic environment. It's like taking a picture of somebody sneezing. It's not what their face looks like. So you want to take a series of pictures so you can actually get to see what the person really looks like. It's the same with a business, especially those businesses that are cash value businesses like, you know, pizzerias and dry cleaners and, you know, a lot of different businesses that depend on consumers. In addition to which, practices like doctors, dentists, lawyers, financial advisors, the recessionary period can absolutely affect the value of the business, not only from a cash flow standpoint, but also from a volume standpoint. So it's not really fair to the non-propertied spouse if you take a look at a business in a snapshot during a recession, because it's not the true value of the business. So that's why even in good times, people ask for 3 years' worth of information on a business, and a very good forensic accountant will do that and be able to analyze what the actual value of a business is.
Last question, because we're running out of time. You spoke of a few different jobs before. When it comes to corporate America, what are the jobs that are most severely impacted?
Well, the jobs that are going to be the most impacted are those that are dependent upon salary that's not guaranteed. The ones that aren't affected are the people that are contractually paid, like teachers, firefighters, police officers. But everyone else in this world has an effect on their salary during a recession. Profitability has a recession effect.
Always great information. Donna LaScala, President of Comprehensive Divorce Solutions in New York. Thank you again for joining us. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this break.
At Comprehensive Divorce Solutions, Donna LaScala provides the tools for people to deal with assets, debts, equitable distribution, and retirement in divorce negotiations. We hold your hand during and after the divorce process, providing a roadmap of what happens next and into the future. Divorce is difficult whether you're initiating it or not. It's fraught with emotion. When you deal with emotions, you are not dealing with logic, making it more difficult to decide what to do with your money. Hiring a professional to assist you in walking down the money path is crucial to avoiding potentially costly mistakes. Donna's goal is to make sure that each individual knows how they are going to be able to survive and thrive during and after divorce. As a CDFA-trained mediator and collaborative financial neutral, Donna helps people get unstuck and move forward towards their post-divorce future. Call Donna LaScala at 516-218-6919, 516-218-6919.